Welcome, I'm Darren, and I'll be your guide today as I rank the 1997 NFL Properties Santa Claus cards. 97 was the last year that they made Santa Claus cards for NFL Properties as a special promo set. It was a really cool tradition. They started in 1993, but by 1997 the spirit had really kind of been lost. That doesn't mean that these cards are all terrible. In fact, there are a lot of cards that were really good cards to go out on. A lot of cards, though, showed that they really were at the end of their rope, but this just wasn't necessarily the worst year for these cards, because even at the bottom level, the cards still held up decently enough. But you could tell that they really were out of energy, because all the energy of the first 2 years, you don't see it. They're not inspired. That's what the problem is with these cards. But the first card on this list is really a fascinating dichotomy. The worst card is definitely the worst card, but also I think we can all agree it's also one of the best Santa Claus cards ever. It's the Collector's Edge card, which I think is best described as Santa's got the munchies. Or if Santa doesn't have the munchies, I'm pretty sure that the artist has the munchies. Now, it's Colorado, so he very well may not have been willing to sit around and wait for Colorado to finally get around to legalization. I don't know. But I got to tell you that whenever I look at this card, the art is horrendous. I mean, it really, if you are on some other sort of substance, this would be the worst nightmare you've ever encountered. But even if you're sober, it's still a nightmarish card. And yet at the same time, the punchline is wonderful. Now, there's a music group from the 90s I really liked called the Squirrel Nut Zippers. They have a hidden track called Santa's Smoking Reefer. It's a real song, and it's got to be on YouTube somewhere. Amazing song, and I look at this card, and all I can think is this is like a bad version of that song. But I love the irony of looking at this card and going, how in the world did somebody think that was worthwhile? The art's horrific, but the subject matter, oh, I got to give them credit for that. Now, at number 7, a better card is Playoff. Now, not a lot better. There are a couple of big things going on with this card that are bad. First off, it's the Green Bay Packers, which is just it's not good at all. I mean, it is Reggie White. I'll give him credit for that. So, you could choose worst Packers, which is most of them. But the big problem that the card has is the fact that it doesn't look good. I mean, by 1997, Playoff had absolutely figured out how to use Techchrome well. This looks like it's straight out of 1994. If you just showed me this card, I bet my entire card collection this was a 1994 card. And I'm glad that I didn't make that bet, because I would have lost. How in the world is this card happening here at this point? This is absolutely indefensible. But even worse than that, on the front, okay, they have like a North Pole and stadium kind of theme. But on that card back, it's just a picture of Reggie White with the backdrop of Lambeau Field. But what is this? September? August? I mean, Lambeau Field's known as the frozen tundra for a reason. Use a December shot. Make it look cold. They didn't think this thing through. It really does feel rushed. The art on the front's not good. The effects aren't good. The card back isn't good. There's nothing about this card that looks good. At least it is not the horrifying fever dream that Collector's Edge gave us, but it's not really that much better. Now, at number 6, I have what should be pretty much the best card of all, which is Topps. And the card has some really wonderful qualities to it. The red of Santa's football uniform, very nice. What seems like poinsettias behind, I think it's actually bows on a tree. I think that's what the photo actually is, but it looks like a bunch of poinsettias. Very nice. The gold theme for the border, very nice. And the card back, dude, this is hands down the best card back of all of these. I love this card back. The only problem is the Santa art is really lousy. I mean, the face is basically, this is a card where somebody figured out that they could, using airbrushing on a computer, they could do this. They could pull it off. But just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it, and they should not have done this. It's just really mediocre art, and that's mediocre at its very best. I mean, his right arm, I zoomed in to look at his right arm to see what was going on, and what's going on with that is exactly what it looks like. It's just bad art, and it ruins a great card. And that's the reason that I have this card here in the worst of portion, because it really is a ruined card. Otherwise it's good, but boy, you got to look past the whole middle of that card. But then at number 5, I've also got a card that I also don't think is very good, which is the scoreboard card, which is basically a greeting card. Now this is pedestrian. It's just, it's good enough. It's turned out, it's just kind of a holiday theme that you do. And if it was a card set where different quarterbacks or different football players showed up on different cards, I would like this card a little bit more. But look, you're just setting aside the fact that it's a Green Bay Packer, which already says everything that you need to know. Brett Favre is not photogenic. I don't think there's ever been a good photo that's been taken of Brett Favre, because he doesn't care. He is the Barry Bonds of the NFL. And yet Barry Bonds is photogenic. He at least smiles. He looks in photo shoots, he looks like he cares about being there. Brett Favre doesn't, which means that this whole card is about celebrating Brett Favre. And if you're, for some reason, a Packers fan, and if you are a Brett Favre fan, then this is a card that you're probably going to like. If you're not, it's just a terrible card. That's the problem. And so I look at this card and I just go, dude, why? That's what it comes down to. It is pedestrian at best. But those didn't work. Do starts off with a card that is, this is the big turmoil for me, because I would put Fleer Ultra at number 2, hands down. I really like this card. The 1998 design is a good design for what they were doing. It comes through really well. The art is actually really good. I think that is originally a Steve McNair picture, but they've altered it so that it's Santa, so it's in the snow. I like the colors of the uniform. The way the uniform looks is really good. Everything about this card I like, except for Santa's face. Whoa, man, that is, what in the world is going on with that? It is really, it's really freaky. Tell you what, let's take a break. Yeah, let's get back to Collector's Edge. Okay, this is much better. And it's sad to say that the Collector's Edge card, the worst of all of them, has the second best image of Santa of all. How in the world is this the second best image of Santa? I don't know. But now I've cleansed my palette, let's go back. The thing about the Ultra card, the reason I have it here in the top half is because this is a card, every time I look at it, I go, oh, that's really cool. And as long as I don't spend time looking at it, it's one of the best Santa Claus cards just about of all time. It really is a good card. You just need to make sure you don't look too closely at it. I mean, talk about ruining a card. So it's at number 4 because I like it, but I can't put it any higher. Now at number 3, I've got Pinnacle. And this is just a straightforward, standard, special NFL card. There is nothing about this card that's unique. It's just the way that you do a holiday card for NFL. And it's perfectly fine. I love the green backdrop, the snowflakes there. I like the general theme of 3 AFC quarterbacks decorating a tree with paper cutouts of a Pinnacle logo. I'm not sure about that. On the card back, they have 3 NFC quarterbacks who are doing the same thing, all in a monochromatic image. And this is how you do it. Look, there are 5 quarterbacks who look like they want to be there and are enjoying what's happening. This is the way that this is the way that you do it. This actually works. Now, there's nothing special about it. There's nothing energetic about it. There's nothing creative about it. This is just a straightforward portrait for around the holiday theme. But that's fine. It looks good. Now, it doesn't look great. The top 2 are cards that actually show that somebody wanted to take some time and do something special, And at number 2, I have Upper Deck with the Holiday Troy Drive, which, okay, I'll give them that. The name, I think, is pretty decent. It's not great, but it works well enough. But it's all about the art, and the art is a lot of fun. I like what's going on. The way that the art is created is good. I like that everything's way too busy because it's done so that it's almost like you find things going on in the card, which is cool. But interestingly, when I look at this card, I think about quilts. Now, this may sound weird, but whenever I go to the fair, I really like looking at the quilt competition because really good quilters make some surprisingly amazing art out of quilts. You know, obviously a lot of them are just straightforward quilts, but when somebody really spends some time, there's some amazing stuff that can be done with quilts. And I look at this card and I go, that would be a great quilt if it was John Elway or Eric Kramer. I would totally want the quilt. Troy Aikman, not so much. But it has a lot of the spirit of that general type of art that I think comes through really well. So I really like the card. But it certainly is not number 1 because the number 1 card for me is, well, the title card. But that's because the title card is just a classic throwback. This looks like it came out of 1991 or 1992 Pro line, which is basically where all of these cards came from. That's really the origin of these cards. And it does a great job of just making a really good classic NFL themed Santa Claus image. Is that asking too much? And apparently it is asking too much because it is the overall design theme that was added. The card companies couldn't be bothered to make something this good. I do give Upper Deck credit. They got really close, but this to me is just the best. It's just, classic. Don't know what more to say. So, that is my ranking of the card designs of the 1997 NFL Properties Santa Claus cards. I've already done the other years, 93, 94, 95, 96. I've done those in previous years, in case you want to go back and check those out. They are the 93 and 94, really good. 95 and 96, not so much. But I do have those, and I will be covering the Topps sets using the baseball designs. I'll be the Topps set from, I think it was 07. I'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks, so definitely check those out when they come out. If you haven't subscribed, I do urge you to do so. I've already done the NFL Santa Claus cards video. I've already done that, as well as the rankings. So that's another one. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. But other than that, thank you very much for watching.